Hi everyone. We're going to find the partial fraction decomposition. This one has linear repeated factors in the denominator. So what we're going to have to do is use synthetic division. And by looking at your last term, the factors are 3. So this would be your p part are going to be plus and minus 1 and 3. So, and then your q is just plus or minus 1. So p over q is just going to be one of those. So we're going to go ahead and try 1 on this. So if we plug in 1 and do synthetic division, we have 1, 1, negative 5, 3. So we bring down the 1, and you multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add. So we got lucky with the 1. So that's going to be x minus 1. And then since we started with cube, we go down 1. So this will be your x squared. X squared plus 2x minus 3. And then you can factor this part even further, which is going to be x minus 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 1. If you write that again, you can write it as x plus 3. Since these are the same, we can write that as x minus 1 squared. So that's what we're going to do. We have repeated linear. Well, the repeated linear is right there. So I wrote it out this way. And the first thing we want to do is clear the fractions. So we clear this out. And you multiply it by multiplying it by your least common denominator. So we're going to have x squared plus 1 equals a. Now this cancels, and we have a times x minus 1 squared plus, and this one cancels out. We're going to have b times x plus 3 times x minus 1 plus c, this cancels out with that, times x plus 3. Now we want to choose numbers to solve for a, b, and c. So the first thing I want to choose is negative 3. If I let x equal negative 3, and I plug in negative 3 in here, negative 3 plus 3, this is going to be 0, so that knocks that out. Also, if I plug in a negative 3 here, that's 0. 0 times that would be negative 4. All this is going to be 0. It knocks it out. So I'm just going to plug the negative 3 into this part to find my a. Everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put negative 3. So this is going to be 9 plus 1 is 10. And this is going to be negative 4 squared is 16. And divide both sides. And so that if you reduce it, that would be 5/8. Alright? Now we're going to do the same thing. Let's eliminate, let's let x equal 1. We let x equal 1. When you plug a 1 in here, that's going to be 0. That zeroes out. You plug a 1 in here, that's a 0. That would be a 4, but it still zeroes out because 0 times 4 is 0. Plug a 1 in here, that's going to be fine. So I'm going to plug a 1 in. I'm going to use this part and find my c. So 1 squared plus 1 equals c times 1 plus 3. So we get 2 equals 4c. So c equals 1/2. Now one more time, I'm going to use something simple because you have both of these that are included in this. I'm just going to let x equal 0. You can use anything actually, just 0 is easier, and plug in 0 everywhere. So I'm just plugging in 0. So this is going to be negative 1 squared. Oh, this is just 1. And that's just going to be a. This is 3 times negative 1. That's going to be minus 3b. And this is negative 3. So it's going to be negative 3c. Now we already know our a and c. So our a was 5/8. And our c was 1/2. So we're going to substitute and plug that in. So 1 equals 5/8 minus 3b minus 3 times 1/2. So I go ahead and move the 3b over here. So we have 5/8 minus 3/2. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 1 minus 1. And that's going to give you 3b equals 9/8. Divide both sides by 3. So if you divide everything by 3, or multiply each side by 1/3, you're going to get b equals 9/24, which equals 3/8. Whoops. So I'm getting too close to the bottom here. So 3/8 is your b. So let's write it all down. We have a equals 5/8. B equals 3/8, and C equals 1/2. And so you merely just write your equation again, x squared plus 1 divided by x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals your A, 5 divided by 8, all divided by x plus 3 plus 3/8 divided by x minus 1 plus 1/2 divided by x minus 1 squared. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.